What's up, everybody? Trying something a little bit different in this video. This is going to be basically a review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but you're also going to see some footage from the last weekend when I went pop hunting. Now, I do want to be clear, I wasn't exactly pop hunting for Guardians of the Galaxy pops. I was just kind of out and about to see what's out there. Also, I was looking for something for a friend. And if you want to see what I did pick up this past weekend, I already do have a video up with my most recent Funko Pop pickup, so you can check that out. But again, this really isn't so much about the footage per se. I may mention some things that you'll see within the footage, but I do want to mainly focus on the movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. There will be some spoilers within this review. I'll try my best to be a little bit vague about certain things in case you haven't seen the movie, but it's kind of tough for me to talk about certain aspects of it without getting into spoilerish territory. But like I said, I will try my best to keep it vague in case you haven't checked the movie out, but do be forewarned about that in case you really don't want to hear any types of spoilers at all. Then this may not be the review for you. But if you're cool with some spoilerish territory, then yeah, you can stick around. But yeah, enough about that. Let me go ahead and get into the actual review, and wish me luck with this. This is, like I said, something kind of new for me, and I actually am kind of, to a certain extent, like editing on the fly while I talk about the movie. So like I said, it's something new for me, but let's go ahead and get into it. So I do want to start off by mentioning Baby Groot, because Baby Groot was really big in terms of promoting this movie. I think a lot of people were excited to see Groot again, and especially in a different way. I really appreciate that they did not overuse the character. So I thought that was a really smart idea on their part. I think he's in it just enough, and he definitely feels different enough, of course, from the first movie, although you still see shades of, you know, who he was, but at the same time, he is a baby. I mean, so he's a lot more, I would say, impulsive, and his intelligence is not, you know, as high as it was. So, and they use that in very, you know, smart ways. So that was cool. Now, moving on with Star-Lord, and of course Star-Lord, this really is about him, and especially what's going on with him and his father, Ego, and that's not a spoiler because, I mean, they've used that in the promotion from the very first, like I would say, trailer, so that's really no surprise there. But I really like his emotional depth within this movie. I thought Chris Pratt did an amazing job. There was a lot more for him to kind of sink his teeth into in this movie, so it was handled very well. And I gotta be honest, I'm kind of a sucker for like very well done father-son relationships in movies, because on a personal level, like, I didn't have that really close relationship with my father, and there are just some beautiful moments within this movie. There's even a scene, and like I said, slight spoiler here, but a scene where they kind of play catch, and it was just beautifully done. And speaking of beautiful, this is an absolutely beautiful movie, one of the most amazing movies I've ever seen in terms of visuals. I am not exaggerating at all, and I actually saw it in 2D because the way the showtimes worked out, that was you know, basically the only option for me. But if it is possible to go back and see this in 3D, I really think I want to, because I've heard great things about it, and I can believe it, because I mean, even in 2D, there's a lot of stuff that really just jumps off of the screen. It looks amazing. As far as some other characters are concerned, I thought Gamora, well, really, Gamora and Nebula, I kind of got to put them together, because this movie was a lot about pairs. A lot of characters work together great as pairs. So Star-Lord and Ego very much were together. And by the way, again, with Ego, great casting choice. Kurt Russell just knocked that out of the park. Just an amazing choice. Really perfect for it to be that fatherly figure. Yeah, it just works so well. But Gamora and Nebula, I like that there was more depth to their relationship in very emotional moments. I still gotta say, this is one weakness, I would say, of the movie. The actress that plays Nebula, I think she does try to oversell it too much. She to me looks like Ronda Rousey when she's walking out to the ring, where she's just grimacing like way too hard, trying to look too tough. And Nebula is like that like all the time. So I do like that her character was given more depth, but at the same time, I still thought the actress could have maybe dialed it back a little bit, you know. But Gamora, she definitely showed just how tough of a character is. She has one moment, and it is in the trailer, where she's like firing off this huge cannon from a spaceship, basically, and it reminded me so much of Iron Man Super and Marvel vs. Capcom, that series, and that's why I love that moment. It was so awesome, and I think somebody else might notice that too, that it kind of is reminiscent of that moment. It might have been inspired by that moment. And by the way, you see here at Barnes & Noble, of course, they had these figures going on. I'm going to say real quick before I move on here, I'm still trying to hold back on picking up the Pops, because I'm kind of holding out hope that I can get the Costco 4-packs. They have 2 different 4-packs, and I really would like to get them that way to save space, and also I just think they look cool. So I really would prefer not to get all these individual Pops. While I have this frozen here, let me go ahead and point out one character, Taserface. It's still weird to me that they have not shown a Yondu Pop. I don't know, maybe he'll be a SDCC exclusive. But yeah, I thought it was odd that they haven't made that Yondu Pop yet with the Mohawk, and yet they do have Taserface. But I gotta say, Taserface he had some really funny scenes, and especially Rocket teasing his name and getting other people to tease his name. It was hilarious, so he was kind of a minor villain, and there were multiple villains in this movie, and they really handled them pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and move on with the footage here, but yeah, so as far as another pairing is concerned, I would say Drax and Mantis definitely had a lot of moments together, and they used Mantis in such a smart way. I really like that we were able to see the pain that Drax walks around with, what he's dealing with on the inside, and he had a lot of humor. He had really added a ton of humor to the movie, which I really appreciated. But at the same time, like I said, via Mantis, we were able to see some of that depth of his character, and he is a warrior, so you're not going to have those moments. I think it wouldn't feel genuine if he had moments where he just like totally broke down and was crying and talking a whole lot about his past. I just don't think he's that type of guy. So revealing what he's dealing with through her was really intelligent again on their part. This was just a great script. It was a really well written script. Another pairing, of course, is Rocket and Yondu. They had some great moments together, and they kind of came out of nowhere, but not in like a negative way. There was emotional moments between them, and in particular a moment where Yondu kind of brought a realization to Rocket, and it was just so powerful. And there were a lot of powerful moments in this movie. I'm not even gonna lie, I teared up multiple times at this movie. It was very emotional, and I gotta say, I think that the dramatic moments actually were more powerful than the comedy this time. I feel like the first movie is still a great movie. It's definitely a great movie, but this movie shined a lot more in terms of the drama and the character relationships. So I really did appreciate that. And speaking of Yondu, Michael Rooker, this might be his standout performance for me now. I've seen him in other things, but I feel like to a certain extent he's been kind of typecast at times as sort of playing this, this southern redneck type. He's had to play roles where he's racist and stuff repeatedly. It's just this role to me is just really his role, and man, did he own it. He did an amazing job, and I did not expect to get emotional over Yondu scenes, but there were actually 2 moments that really struck me, and I was like, wow, like Michael Rooker he stole the show for me. I don't know how other people feel about it, but when I think about the movie as a whole, like Yondu just absolutely stole the show for me. And there is some people may have heard, and they actually kept him out of the marketing, which I think was smart, because Sylvester Stallone does have a very minor role within it. But even his scene with Yondu, and then like a scene that he comes back for later on, again, powerful. Like I'll say in this movie, they did a lot with a little. There's just these little moments that really mean so much, in the grand scheme of things, and they're just amazing. Some really beautiful moments, especially towards the end. By the way, Laura Palmer in Toys R Us, a little disturbing to see. I talked about that before on Funko News, that I was kind of wondering with Twin Peaks. I may have addressed that because I know Collecting Plastic and I were talking about that together, and yeah, that it would be some controversy, and it was weird to see that Laura Palmer, basically a dead woman, sitting there in Toys R Us. And I know that they have age ranges on the box, but that was just still awkward. Getting back to the movie though, As far as villains go, now, like I said, there are multiple villains, and I won't talk in great detail about all of them in case you have not seen the movie. But I do want to bring up the Sovereign, and they are basically the gold people that you see, the gold skin color people, and they wear all gold. Some critics really are not fans of those characters, but I feel like they were used sparingly. Like, if they had been in the movie more, then I could see the complaint. But as is, I think that they were fine. What I really liked about them is that they're a great contrast to the Guardians themselves, because the Sovereign, they view themselves as being like this perfect race, and they don't even like to really get their hands dirty. When they're involved in action, they're actually like basically using drones. So it's just such a great contrast to who the Guardians are. And honestly, you could even say that it points out a contrast as well, how different the Guardians are compared to even the Avengers. Now, think about Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. They had that party scene, which was a pretty cool scene, you know, to see all those characters together and having fun and everything. But I can't afford to party like that. I can't really identify with that. So it's kind of funny that the Guardians of the Galaxy, even though they're mostly aliens, even Star-Lord himself is, you know, only half human. Still, though, I think they're some of the most relatable characters in the Marvel universe. You know, when you really think about it, they feel very down to earth, and they have these quirks that are just they're so real, and the way that they tease each other and everything, you know, and they joke around, it just feels very realistic. So yeah, I gotta say that I think the Guardians stand out right now as the most relatable characters. Even if you bring the Netflix series into the mix, yes, those characters are somewhat relatable, but at the same time, they're such a downer. Like I've said this before when I reviewed some of the Netflix series, that I really wish that they would bring in just a little more comedy, a little more levity, because they can be very heavy, especially. And I really like Jessica Jones, that series, but it was very bleak though. And Luke, you could say the same can be said for Luke Cage, Iron Fist as well. Daredevil had little moments where they tried to bring some levity in, but not nearly enough. So yeah, that's something that they need to work on. I do have to be fair though and say that with Guardians of the Galaxy, if I'm comparing the first movie to the second one, the first one actually was more successful with comedy. I gotta be real about that. There are some moments in the second one where I would say this way. You think about like straight up comedy movies, they throw a ton of jokes out there. Some are gonna stick, some are not. You know, that's the way it is. So I feel like in the second movie, enough of the jokes, they do stick, but there are some lines where it's like, I don't quite know why they left that in the script. And even with the opening, which is amazing, by the way, and when I say opening, I'm talking about the actual opening credits. That was a really fun scene. I can't wait to see that again because it was so fun. Oh, and check out Star-Lord here. It's excuse me, I forgot what this series is exactly called, this Marvel series here, but that's a great looking figure. And they do have, of course, all the Guardians out and about different places. But yeah, I really did like the opening, but there is a callback to the end of the first movie that doesn't quite make sense. And it's this is slight spoiler again, nothing major, but there's a moment where Baby Groot does that sort of freezing up thing to stop dancing to kind of confuse Drax, and it doesn't quite make sense, like why he would freeze up. So it was just a callback to the first movie, but one that just felt kind of unnecessary. And I will say also, there's another comedic moment that really did not work for me is, and again, I'm going to be kind of vague here for those of you that haven't seen it. During a climactic battle, they put in a callback to a classic video game, and it didn't feel right for that specific moment because of where the character Star-Lord was emotionally. I don't see him doing that at that moment, so that felt a little forced in. It was a cool effect and everything, but it just felt a little forced in. And the theater I was in had a good number of people. Nobody laughed at that moment because it wasn't the right moment for it. So it almost felt like it was wasted. They could have maybe worked that in some other way, you know. But that climactic battle, it definitely some amazing effects. Like I said, amazing effects throughout. That's why I cannot wait to check this out in 3D. And if anybody has seen this and you've seen it in 3D, definitely let me know what you think about it. By the way, check this out. Yoda Spirit's still out in the wild. Walgreens, it's like they never turn off the machines with their exclusives. They just keep on producing them, and eventually, even characters that people are crazy about, it seems like the value gets brought down over time. I'm kind of wondering if the same thing is going to eventually happen with Mace Windu. I guess time will tell on that. And I don't know why in my area, I don't see this in other people's videos. In my area, there's so much G.I. Joe around. It's ridiculous. And a lot of times, G.I. Joe with terrible boxes, because I'm pretty sure that's due to kids being able, it's at a height where kids can pick them up and put them back down. So I'm pretty sure that has something to do with it. Yeah, but getting back to the movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I want to say that I feel like the critics were completely wrong on this one. And it's not as if the critics totally beat the movie up, but they kind of gave it like middling reviews. I didn't see anybody like heap a lot of praise on it. Most critics that I actually trust and watch, from critic to critic, they kept saying it's not as good as the first. It's not as good as the first. And I almost feel like they went into, and look at that box damage, by the way, that's horrible on that Gwenpool. But I feel like some critics had it in their mind already to go into this movie and say it's not as good as the first, because I just do not buy that. I think that I still love the first movie, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the second one, other than the comedy, I feel like the second one was more successful in every way. I feel like it had more character depth, better relationships between the characters. I thought the action was better, definitely better villains, and in this one, like I said, multiple villains, and I think that they were handled very well. In fact, they brought in more characters and handled them just so well, so much better than, again, I gotta go back to Avengers Age of Ultron, which I don't think handled their characters very well. Even Captain America Civil War, I feel like some characters were very much just like cameo, basically, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, basically cameos, when it really comes down to it. And there's some other characters as well in Civil War that I kind of felt like got the short end of the stick there. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did an amazing job at really handling so many characters. So I'm glad that the movie has been a huge financial success, because like I said, I think the critics just got it wrong this time. I think they had preconceived notions about what this movie would be. And if somebody wants to say that they like the first one better, I'm not going to argue with them about that. That's cool. Of course, that's personal preference. But for me, I think the second one was a lot better. And I already felt like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, was one of the best, at least top 3 Marvel movies, Marvel Studios movies. But at this point, after seeing the second one, I think this actually is my favorite Marvel movie. And I'm talking, of course, specifically about Marvel Studios. I think it is my favorite, edging out, I would say edging out Captain America Civil War, because as much as I like Captain America Civil War, I feel like the stakes were not high enough. They should have been higher. It didn't really feel like a civil war. It felt more like just a disagreement with the skirmish in there, because they weren't really trying to go at each other, except for of course the climactic battle in that movie. But even then, I mean, it wasn't as if Iron Man and Captain America were really out to kill each other, so yeah, I just feel like the stakes were a lot higher in this movie, and it just added so much more to it. And if I had to like choose another top 3 movie, it would probably be I might have to go with another Captain America movie, Winter Soldier. I really like that movie, but the one thing I don't like about that movie, I felt like the third act just dragged. I think it's a great movie other than that. I mean, that's maybe like nitpicking to some people, but yeah, I felt like the third act just kind of dragged, especially that final fight between Captain America and Bucky. It just felt a little dragged out to me, but it's still a great movie, of course. But yeah, if I'm gonna have to rank the Marvel movies, and maybe I will do that at some point, and people, you can let me know if you'd be interested in checking that out. Maybe at some point I will rank like the MCU movies, and I don't know if I would do like all of them. I mean, I could do all of them, run through some of them quickly and then get to my top 10 or top 5. But yeah, I'm revealing it right now already. I gotta say, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is number 1 for me. And by the way, this is when they're doing too many products. Really, Chia Pet Groot, that's maybe a little bit too much there. But it was cool to actually go around and see some Guardians of the Galaxy products that I wasn't aware of. Check out that Star-Lord mask. That is pretty cool there. And they do have some more of those Marvel Legends. That's what it is. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name of the series. But yeah, they got some more Marvel Legends figures there. Kind of sucks that you have to like build Groot together, but I mean, that's the way that they sell those figures. They kind of encourage people to buy all the parts, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because I don't know if I've ever seen anybody actually open up any Marvel Legends. I think people just buy them and display them, so I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually build a figure, you know. But yeah, wrapping it up here with Target, and you saw that the stores I went to, basically I went to like 3 different Walgreens, and they were just... Well, actually, I went to 3 on this particular day, and I went to 2 previously, at least 2 previously. I've been to like 5 or 6 Walgreens, and nothing new. I was really looking for Mace Windu to help out some friends, and I don't know, because it is Samuel L. Jackson, if I found one, after I look out for my friends, if I found another one, I might even get one for myself to have in my collection for a while, at least. Oh, by the way, they're the Guardians of the Galaxy plushies, which... they only had Star-Lord left, and then for some reason somebody had left Star Fox there, or I forgot the character's name, McCloud, Fox McCloud, whatever it is. Yeah, yeah, and I went to 2 different Targets as well. Targets was pretty much a bust, but like I said, they did have some interesting Guardians of the Galaxy products that I had not seen before. And a lot of them actually have like voices, and they'd have certain actions, and they light up and all these different things. I didn't play around with all of them. I didn't want to seem too much like a big kid up in the store. But some pretty cool things. And I know if I had a kid, like I would definitely pick up some of this stuff for them, because that's another thing about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't think there was anything like too crude within it. I mean, now there is a scene that does take place basically at a brothel, but like for kids, I don't think it would be completely obvious what's going on there, you know. So I think it is a pretty good family movie as well. I mean, of course, parents would still need to kind of maybe screen it a little bit and think about it, you know, before they just let their kids check it out, you know. So, but it's one I definitely cannot wait to own, and I can't wait to hear the commentary. I think James Gunn has just been so big to Marvel, and I know that they're giving him basically more power moving forward over the movies, and I think that's a really smart move, because he's just doing great things. And even his brother in the movie, he's basically Yondu's right-hand man. I thought he did a great job as well. All the after credit scenes were pretty awesome. And another thing about the Sovereign, they even though some people may not be crazy about those villains, like I said, I don't have a problem with them. I also like that they used Aisha, the Sovereign's leader, basically to set up a character for the next movie. So I'm looking forward to that, because I really don't know a lot about the character, so really looking forward to see what he's all about, and you know, how they interpret him. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this review / pop hunt. You know, hopefully you were able to follow everything I was saying while also checking out the footage. Like I said, kind of a new thing for me. I did update my list here, pops, that I'm looking forward to. I did change some things out. I don't know if I'll be able to get all this stuff, but you know, these are definitely things that I'm interested in. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. Money is always a factor, of course, but yeah, these are some things I'm interested in. Like I said, you see those 4-packs there of Guardians of the Galaxy, and again, as a reminder, those are at Costco for anybody else that's trying to track those down as well. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this. Definitely want to hear your feedback. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought about it, how you feel about it, how would you compare it to the first one. If you have not seen it, let me know if you're gonna check it out, you know, and maybe what might be some of your reservations about it. Now, I'll say this: if your reservations about going to see it are because of what some critics are saying, I'm just gonna say forget what the critics have said. It is an amazing movie and definitely worth seeing in the theater. Okay, but that's gonna be it for now. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all again real soon.